Hi, this is Amy with Living My Beloved Life, and this is what I wore for the month of May. This cycle was just a little bit different in that I wore quite a few more pads than normal because I was home more on the weekend. It actually started. My cycle started on Saturday. I was out of the house and I thought, well, maybe it's going to start today. So I put on this beautiful Lazy Creek boutique. This is a suede cloth. This is one of my very first pads and still one of my favorites. It's considered a liner because it's really thin, but it holds up fantastic. And my cycle did start that day, and it was actually kind of heavy for starting. And I wore it for about 6 hours, and it held up fantastic. And it even bled onto the wing and everything, which doesn't have any sort of core in it, and it still held up fantastic. It did it did need an extra soaking to get clean, though. I was sort of surprised at that, but other than that, love this pad. Love, love, love it. Then I came home. I put on this 10-inch. I don't know what it is. This is actually one of my very first pads. A friend gave me, kind of obviously, one of those sort of like bargain type pads, charcoal bamboo. It's a great pad. It holds up fantastic. That evening I put on, let's see if you can see how big this thing is. This is a Happy Moon pad. This is hemp fleece. It's an 11-inch. It has a core with POL in there. Yeah, oh my gosh, I said that correct. And it's got the 3 snaps there, which is pretty nice. A flannel back. It's a really great pad. It holds up fantastic. So I wore that overnight, and it, like I said, it held up really wonderful. Next day, Sunday, I was home actually all day. So I wore pads the entire day, which is not kind of normal for me. First thing I wore was, after I got up, was my new Empire Lush. This is an 11-inch. Obviously, it's a bone shape, and it's a cotton top. And I got this in an auction that she was doing for an animal shelter, so it was perfect. I only wore this for maybe 2.5 hours or so, and I needed to change. My second day is always my heaviest. So I started with that. Then I put on one of my new Amillas. This is a cotton top. It says Be My Valentine. And this one happens to be a Penelope. It has a moderate core in there, it feels like. I, again, only wore that for about 2.5 to 3 hours before it was pretty saturated and I needed to change again. I put on, this is a 9, maybe a 10-inch Lazy Creek boutique. This is a minky top. I just think this fabric is really pretty. This little rainbow fleece back. It's considered a moderate. You can see her little M there. Again, it held up for about 2.5 to 3 hours. I needed to change again. Wow. Then I put on another Amilla. This is like a velvet. It's kind of this pretty steely gray. I think this is a Penelope too because it's the same size and everything. So I'm pretty sure. And core feels about the same thickness. I wore that for maybe 3 to 4 hours. So midday and, towards early evening, my cycle was starting to slow down a little bit. I was so surprised that I'd had to change so often before that. I think I got to about 3.5 to 4 hours with this one. Then I needed to change again. I put on this Terra pad. This is a cotton top with a fleece back. I think it's considered a moderate. And it held up wonderful. I wore this pretty much the rest of the evening, maybe 4 to 5 hours before I went to bed. And for overnight I wore my Novel Red. This is one of my crushed velvet. I love this pad, and you can see like how floppy it is. It's just super duper comfy, and I bled fairly heavily overnight, but it held up wonderful. I had no leaking that night at all. The next day was Monday, so I was at work. So I put in my Maluna medium, and I wore this all day, about 13 hours or so. Along with this, I wore one of my new We Essentials long liners. This is a flannel top, cute little butterflies. I had no leaking or anything. That night I got home and I put on my fanny tail feathers. I just think this is a really pretty fabric. It's cotton top. I think it's a heavy, it's pretty thick. And I thought I would just be wearing this for a few hours and then putting on something else for overnight, but literally I had no more bleeding after about 5 o'clock. I was really surprised and a little disappointed because I thought I'd get to wear something else to bed. So I ended up wearing that all night and it was fine. I didn't need anything. The next day, again, I was at work. This was day 4 now, so I knew my cycle was slowing down. I put on my Scoon cup. I wore this 12, 13 hours, and my Delightful Rhythms. This is a little 6-inch thong liner, cotton top with a little bit of a fleece back, so it's a little bit thicker than the We Essentials one, but still a good pad. And then for overnight, I didn't suspect to have any bleeding, and I don't think I did, but I put on this Novel Red. This is a Ninja. This is a suede top in the black. Again, you can see how floppy it is. It's fairly thin. It's like a liner type. Really like that pad as well, Novel Red. Day 5, I didn't expect to really have any more bleeding or anything, but I thought, well, I'll just wear a thong liner just in case. I put on this Luna pad and remembered why I don't like it, because it is so wide. It is soft